Back on SportsCenter AM, all they got to do is win, and Georgia is on a collision course with the winner of today's LSU-Bama game in the SEC title game. But first, Mizzou, one of 3 remaining conference games in the regular season. Georgia leads the SEC East with that 7-1 record. Their only loss, it was a big one, a home loss to unranked South Carolina a month ago. Alabama and LSU, one of those teams, will have a loss after today.
All due respect to the SEC East, it's time to turn our focus. Good morning, Tuscaloosa. And maybe you went to Industry, maybe you went to Five for dinner, maybe Chuck's. Because Bama and LSU is not just a game, it's not just a day. This is a week to celebrate and get ready for a game that never disappoints. And neither do the signs. We've seen some creativity here at the expense of Ed Ogeron and Joe Burrow. As it might be chilly, but the fans are amped. The game day environment is as good as it ever was. With that, we say good morning to Kirk Herbstreit, who joins us. And we're going to start at the quarterback position. We're going to start with the most, stressed about ankle here in the SEC with Tua Tagovailoa. If he plays, Herbie, and he plays with these talented wide receivers, what can he do to win the matchup with LSU's talented but young secondary?
I don't think there's any question that Tua is going to be playing in this football game, and we'll wait to see how effective he'll end up being. The matchup to me is Tua, how he gets the ball out fast. Steve Sarkisian, the new offensive coordinator at Alabama, putting these receivers in a position to make plays against man coverage. LSU, predominantly a man-to-man team. They've got some young corners that have played outstanding all year, but they've not been challenged the way they will be in this game. Not just the scheme, but obviously Tua, the way he's able to see things like an NFL quarterback, and he's got receivers that can get separation. Bama, remember, leads the nation in yards after the catch because of plays like that from Devontae Smith. So something to watch is how LSU holds up in those man-to-man situations.
All right, if we're looking at the last caliber of opponent, similar to LSU, for Alabama, you got to go back to the national title game. And I know folks behind you don't want to see it. Is there something that LSU can identify in that game tape or maybe the game plan that they can use to slow down Alabama today?
Well, Alabama at home and their defense, obviously, that's a great challenge. One thing, though, about that is they're still young at linebacker. And this, with all due respect to everybody Alabama's played up to this point, this is their first true test since the national championship against Clemson because of the way Joe Burrow is executing, the way he's completing passes, and the command and confidence that he's playing with within this new scheme. You're going back here to that championship, and these fans, as you said, don't want to see this. But it was a combination, not just Travis Etienne, but it was on both sides of the football. The defense was able to get after him. I think really kind of shocked Alabama that night. Now, I don't know if you're going to compare this LSU team yet to that Clemson team, but schematically, if I'm Joe Brady and Steve Ensminger, the offensive coordinators for LSU, I've got to show a lot of different looks, different personnel groupings, different formations, different motions, try to make Alabama's young linebackers have to react to that, which to me means Xavier McKinley has a huge role, number 15 tonight, of being the leader and making sure Alabama adjusts right and nobody has any busts. They cannot afford any mental bust today, obviously, against Burrow and LSU's receivers.
LSU has scored 10 points more than you and I, Herbie, over the last 3 years against Alabama. That defense can dial it up. Let's get to the other battle of unbeaten. Let's talk about the Big Ten quickly with Minnesota and Penn State. What's the where, I guess, will the Golden Gophers pose the biggest challenge to James Franklin's team?
They're dialed in
silent.
on Minnesota and Penn State here in Tuscaloosa. I think Tanner Morgan, it's going to be cold. He's going to have to rely on his ability to run the football as an offense. I really feel that this offensive line is maybe the most underrated offensive line in the Big Ten. Just watching a lot of film this week, they sustain their blocks, do a really good job. P.J. Fleck has come up with a scheme where they stretch you horizontally and vertically. Tanner Morgan's kind of the X factor to me today against the Penn State defense. As good as Minnesota's been able to run the ball with Rodney Smith and company, it's going to be tough against Penn State. And I think in the cold conditions, can Tanner Morgan and a terrific group of wide receivers, can they execute? Can they make plays to take some of the pressure off of that running game?
Penn State, the only team in the FBS that's top 10 in offensive efficiency, defensive efficiency, special teams efficiency. He'll put it on the line today.
Yeah.
Kirk Herbstreit, I know that he knows the restaurants that we rolled through earlier in Tuscaloosa.
We were at Chuck's last night.
We were at Chuck's.
Yeah.
The room upstairs.
Yeah, baby.
It had to be the room upstairs. You can see
Yes,
it.
sir.
There it is. 3:30 on a non-game night. Maybe some folks in the party go to industry. We don't know. We don't know. We got a game to get ready. But you see the fans are ready as well. College game day coming up. Top of the hour on ESPN, live from Tuscaloosa.